No one can see off camera. Oh. No, you can't. This is delicious. It's a Yasso fudge brownie yogurt bar. If you're watching me, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you don't. But you can follow me, Nathan Morris Music, over on YouTube and watch. Anyway, this is 213, episode 213. I feel like I have it all over my face, of The Mortals Podcast, a show which pulls back the curtain and takes down the walls brick by brick and exposes the hearts of those, the true hearts of those caring for those you love most. It's 213, 213. I was really excited to put that in, and I am grateful that you are here because you could be absolutely anywhere. And be sure there is an exclusive group and community called, The Mortals, named after this podcast. It's exclusive looks, first listens of unreleased music, behind the scenes video content into my life, more so than anyone or any other platform gets to experience. And on Fridays, every Friday, I'd be silly to not share that it is Giveaway Friday, exclusive merch, community. That's what it's about. When everything is said and done, what do we have if we don't have this? Catch me and a bunch of other incredible individuals, The Mortals, over at The Mortals. I will link it right now in the show notes and description. But I'm going to also eat this so it doesn't melt. Take a moment, this very moment, and think of 3 things that you are grateful for. I just did before I started speaking, because it's already tough enough to stay up and positive and hopeful and optimistic. It is if you're not used to being that. And unfortunately, I can't say that I've always been used to being that, and I'm sure that surprises a few of you, but say it out loud every day, multiple times a day, and I know that that'll change. When I do intentional things for the sake of positivity, I do notice change. And I know that I've had a lot personally to push through and to face and to work through and to carry. We only have so many buckets, and this bucket of mine in certain instances has been very hard and heavy, and my response and reaction and maybe lack thereof even to certain circumstances, I know is attributed to this heavy bucket. And I say all that, if I continuously stay positive or say positive things, that will hopefully in turn create this continuous positivity. So say 3 positive things about yourself right now before I dive in, because in threes is what we always talk about, like the 3 random facts. Yeah, I love these. And this past few days, I went live a few times over on TikTok at Nathan Morris Music. Find me over there. And it's the same over at YouTube at Nathan Morris Music. I was talking about would you rather horror dating stories, which is really funny. For instance, would you rather have your ex who hates you create your online dating profile, or would you rather have your neighbor? I think it was that, or maybe your parents. I love those. And I have a friend, his name is Jeremy, not to be confused with Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy, my paranormal loving pal, friend, mod, fodder. What's up, Jeremy? My friend Jeremy in North Carolina, Jeremy, he had the best that he could just come up with these would you rathers. I use my best friend, which is ChatGPT, because ChatGPT and myself have gotten very close. It's amazing how well ChatGPT knows me. I mean, I'll here, hang on. That's so good. I'll ask it a prompt, and then it'll shoot something out, and I'm like, interesting. I mean, I have all of these. You can open a new window. Some of them are, for instance, share with me new Descript features, overviews. Descript, of course, definitely encourage you all to check them out. I'll link them below. They are an incredible platform if you are doing anything podcast related, video related, transcription based editing, AI eye contact. Anyway, that's what I was asking it, and it gives you these amazing responses. And if you know how to talk back to it, it can just make them very granular. I'm a nerd about it. Check it out if you haven't yet. ChatGPT is legit, but I was telling it, oh yeah, I was talking about that. Sorry. I was telling it to give me funny dating would you rathers. But because of that, let's dive into our 3 random facts about online dating. Brought to you by me, that's Nathan, and my friend ChatGPT, that's ChatGPT. Algorithm overload, the art of matching chaos, or it's the art of matching chaos. Either way, it's still chaotic. And maybe, are you on a dating app right now? Have you noticed that people, I remember maybe 3 years ago, 5 years ago, people, when you'd ask, how did you all meet? There was this hesitation. There'd be a few, maybe random couples that would be totally fine to say we met on Match, or I feel like we heard Match all the time, but a majority of people would not want to share how they met because it was kind of like this weird thing. And now everybody's on dating apps. It's like impossibly exhausting to be personable in person. So just get on that dating app. Let me know. And by the way, if you're listening on Spotify, be sure to know that you can reply, write a comment, or whichever device you are listening on. I encourage you, please leave a positive review. I would love that. But algorithm overload. Online dating platforms boast algorithms that supposedly analyze your deepest preferences, but they often seem to be running on chaos mode. The apps will ask detailed questions about your life goals, favorite foods, and hobbies, but somehow your quote-unquote perfect match is someone who shares nothing in common with you except their love of breathing. That's amazing. Hang on. It's just so good. Would you agree with that? Like the app, if you're on it, have you exhausted yourself running through all of the matches or lack thereof? And the ones that you find yourself matched with? I don't know. The humor of all of this lies in the disconnect between the promise of scientific precision and the absurdity of some pairings. It's as if the algorithm is saying, quote, let's throw in a wild card and see if opposites really do attract. Let me know if that is a true fact or not. The more you know. We'll interrupt this part because I'm still eating. It's delicious. Swipe science. Studies show that people spend an average of 90 minutes per day on dating apps. I don't know how that's possible. That's a lot. If swiping were a sport, some of us would qualify for the Olympics. The irony is, while you're out fine-tuning your thumb dexterity, the apps are secretly betting you'll never leave because they make more money when you're single. Oh my gosh, that's insane. Here I am thinking Nathan, you have a business mind. If you are on a dating app, you probably are paying for the app. And they don't want you. They don't want you to find your forever person. They want you to keep paying. Huh, that's awful. Wow. Profile picture paradox. Number 3, for your random facts. This is about online dating. There's a reason why people flood their profiles with pets. It works. A survey found that including a dog in your photo can increase your chances of getting a match by over 60%. Why? Because people love pets more than they love humans. Dogs radiate loyalty, warmth, and unconditional love, the exact qualities most of us have been searching for forever. Interesting, huh? Here's the funny part. Some people don't even like or own pets, so they've borrowed their friend's golden retriever. No way. No way. Your dreamy match might just be leveraging someone else's dog. And those are your 3 random facts while I eat fudge yogurt bars. Can you believe that? I'm melting. Oh, I just had to clean my mouth off, make sure there was no fudge in my teeth. I enjoy 3 random facts. I like learning new things, even if it's random, ridiculous, maybe even arguably unnecessary information. Unlike Albert Einstein, I believe the story has gone, and whether it's true or not, I still enjoy it because on church days, for instance, he had a neighbor they would walk, come and get him and walk him to church and then walk him from church to home because he never learned the route. And he said, I just don't want to put unnecessary information in my brain. So maybe he would have hated the 3 random facts, but thankfully, he is probably not listening to this podcast. God rest his soul. TikTok has some insane stuff that you just find yourself scrolling and sticking with. I am on, of course, everything about neuroscience and brain stuff and putting things out into space or the world, and it become this reality thing. It's not woo-woo, it's real. I do know that. Manifesting is what we would call it. My friend Michael Hunter, what's up, man? He's awesome to follow on TikTok. But that's pretty much what my feed is. But also, I stumbled upon this woman who is a British, and she was telling this story. But before I dive into that, I want to jokingly say aliens are real. And if you know, you know, because earlier this year, of course, I was comparing stories, whether people are going to say or think or write what they want, and it may or may not be true, and whatever the hell you want to believe, it's none of my business. And there's this responsibility that you have to be intentional and to be able to formulate your own conclusion on things in life. But that's a serious statement to get into. Not that aliens being real is a serious statement, but I am so intrigued. I'm here for that. And then, of course, because of all of this alien talk, your algorithm, your platform, whatever the hell you want to call it, is probably going to turn into flat earth stuff, which is amazing and interesting. But before I even say that, did you watch the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight? Let me know. If you're following me at Nathan Morris Music on YouTube, be sure to let me know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified. But there are some awesome highlights from that night. And Mike Tyson has Mike Tyson, or I called it Mike-isms. He has a lot of things, phrases that he has said over the course of his career and out in the limelight. And it's always very, very quotable. And I'd encourage you to check it out because obviously the way that he might speak or the number of blows to his head, people would maybe think he's not smart, but I would push back on that because he is very intelligent. Anyway, check that out. If you watch that, let me know because I think it's amazing what Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Logan and Jake were YouTubers, are still. And the Jake Paul little kid that said he was one, could you imagine? Now, Mike Tyson was a little bit before me, or as far as me being able to recognize and realize what the hell's going on in life, I feel like it was the peak. This man's 58 years old, something like that. And he's fighting in the ring with someone half his size and age, or half his age. And like, he was almost dead in June. He lost all this weight and dude's ripped. And you saw his ass on Netflix, but it buffered the whole time. Anyway, I sounded way too excited during the part of me saying that, but I'm saying it because you did. Netflix showed his booty. Did you see that? Okay, I'll stop. But before we go into this creepy ass story, and I hope I get it right, I just saw on Daily Mail that there is a mystery over the horrific death of this 36-year-old woman who was found at the bottom of a stairwell, and she was missing a foot. Her name is Caitlin, pulverized and missing a foot in the stairwell of her partner Adam's luxury South Loop condo, October 27th. Court documents state police in Chicago rushed to the scene and they detained the 46-year-old boyfriend who had reported his wife husband, not boyfriend, his wife missing the day before. They released him after 48 hours without filing any charges. In the weeks that followed, the parents battled against the husband for custody of their daughter's remains. Oh my gosh. Becker Inc., a former partner of international law firm Dwayne Morris, no relation, who had been married to Tracy for 6 months, argued that he had the rights to her body as the surviving spouse. But her family hit back on November 6th, accusing him of reckoning a campaign of abuse and terror against their daughter during her final months, including allegedly throwing a glass pickle jar at her head and pouring vodka on her wounds. At some point in September, they got back together and married in a private ceremony, which did not involve any relatives of Tracy. This is the woman. What a prick. Amid the ridiculous arguments of fighting for control of her body, her parents accused Beckerink of manipulating their daughter, of purposefully isolating her from her family, and being responsible for her tragic and highly suspicious death. To support their argument, the Michigan-based family presented a since rescinded petition Tracy made to Cook County Court a year before she died in a desperate attempt to obtain a restraining order against the man. On October the 4th, Tracy detailed 3 examples of horrific attacks by this tax attorney. Tracy said that July 11th, 2023, at around 3 p.m., Beckerink stripped her nude and attacked her at her 3-story home in New Buffalo on the banks of Lake Michigan, where her parents said she lived to be close to them and away from her partner. Beckerink physically abused me by throwing a pickle jar which struck me on my head, punching me, pushing me, pulling my hair, dragging me by my clothes, and stripping me out of my clothes, she wrote in the petition. He also poured vodka on my body, which burned my wounds, and would motion as if he was going to hit me with the alcohol bottle. Tracy said she managed to escape on foot before her husband later took her to the hospital for treatment to an opened head wound, quote unquote. This is insane. In a second, this is me reading this at the same time. I was just very intrigued by the headline. In a second alleged incident on August 21st, Tracy once again only narrowly escaped a brutal attack by her husband, this time at his plush apartment in Chicago's grand luxury condos, where she was later found dead. At around 8 a.m., they had an argument, and Beckerink began launching a foul-mouthed tirade of abuse against his partner, according to this filing. Tracy alleges he verbally abused her by calling her a cheater, a whore, a piece of shit, liar, and a bitch before escalating to a physical assault. He, and it's in parentheses, physically abused me by dragging me by my ankle, strangling me, suffocating me. And I want to pause if this is, I didn't realize it was going there. If this is something of sensitive topics or nature, you may want to fast forward for a few minutes. We're talking about violence, and I don't in any way condone this or promote it. I'm merely sharing this story. So she's being dragged, slamming her head against a cabinet, slapping me, punching me, putting my head in a headlock, and dragging me away from the door to prevent me from leaving. This petition is saying all of this. He then allegedly stole her keys, her wallet, her iPad, and phone to prevent her from leaving or seeking any help. Tracy said she escaped again by fleeing on foot, this time to the nearest police station. Cops went to Beckerink's apartment, but he refused to open the door. Tracy detailed an alleged third incident, which unfolded in the room where she was staying at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Chicago's Magnificent Mile neighborhood on September 20th, 23. She said her husband stormed into her room around 5:30 before hurling abuse at her and this time attempting sexual abuse. Tracy did not give context about why she was at the hotel or go into detail about the sexual abuse, but she said that filed a police report for domestic battery. Her parents said it was around this time that Tracy temporarily ended her relationship with Beckerink and opened up to them about the alleged violence. In their petition for control of her body, the Tracys said she told them Beckerink had been emotionally, psychologically, and physically abusive to her, including holding her hostage and brutalizing her so badly she needed medical treatment. She also said he had been trying to contact her approximately 20 times a day, either demanding to see her or to verbally abuse her over the phone. I believe if Beckerink knew I was here trying to get an emergency order of protection. He would try and stop me, or I would be at risk of further abuse, Tracy wrote in her bid for the restraining order. So the wife is writing this restraining order, and she's scared to death of this man. Tracy's parents said Beckerink found out and threatened to sue her for defamation and libel, so she withdrew her petition based on fear. So she withdrew all of this. Though Tracy never secured the restraint, Berrien County Prosecutor's Office charged him on January 13, 2024 with 4 counts of larceny, interference with electronic communications, and domestic violence against his wife. On August 19th, they added 2 counts of resisting and obstruction, interference with interference with electronic communications, and more counts of domestic violence against Tracy. This man looks like a total prick. But the charges came too late. Her body was discovered at Beckerink's condo building by the condo building's manager, after a traumatized resident reported finding a severed foot in the stairwell. Cops attended the grisly scene at 7:20 p.m. on the 27th of October and told the family that based on the condition of the remains, they determined that their daughter's body fell approximately 21 floors. Her devastated parents said they were told that based on the height of the fall, their daughter's body was, pulverized and her foot was severed from her body. According to a police report, Beckerink was detained and questioned but later released. Tracy's parents said in their petition, officers told them at the time that he was the primary suspect. An unidentified adult female was found unresponsive at the bottom of the stairs at a residence at the above location, the police said in their police report to Daily Mail. She was pronounced deceased on scene. Detectives are conducting a death investigation pending autopsy results. No one is in custody, and they are not giving any updates at this time of the investigation. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office is conducting this autopsy. And then this is the new development. Tracy's parents are still going through the agonizing process of piecing together their daughter's suffering via Freedom of Information requests to find any further documents she had filed with the police. God. But they secured one major victory this week when Judge Brian Berger ruled that her remains would be released to them rather than the husband. The Tracy's attorney, Mitt Drew, and Andrew Cundiff, not Cundiff, I did go to school with a Cundiff, released statements on their behalf celebrating this decision. We're incredibly grateful. So the family are still fighting, and there's pictures of this. Dwayne Morris, the Chicago law firm where the husband worked as a partner, told Daily Mail he had been swiftly removed in response to the abuse allegations. This is a shocking and tragic case, and we send our deepest condolences to the family and friends of Caitlin. Our firm was not aware of the domestic violence and other allegations against Adam asserted in various legal proceedings until recent media accounts of her death. Once we confirmed these key facts, the partner board swiftly removed Adam as a partner. He is no longer associated in any way with our firm. This is a tragedy. Out of respect for the legal process, it is not appropriate for the firm to speculate about the ongoing investigation other than to say we hope justice will be served and we stand ready to assist if we can help in any way to the investigators. That is in regards to Caitlin Tracy, who, my gosh, this is ongoing, but that is just a sad situation all around. And if you are in any way, if that's such a delicate conversation, I think, or story, I think anybody would be uncomfortable. But if that makes you uncomfortable or if that made you feel unease, I hope that you know that I appreciate you being here and meet you where you are. And I hope that all of you all are safe. And that is a wild thing. You deserve to be loved and taken care of. And I hope that you know that. It wouldn't be a big paranormal shift, by the way, but it wouldn't be The Mortals without giving you some spooky story. And hold tight to this because I'm going to recount a video that I watched. This British woman, and somehow I don't know the connection, but I believe she works in radio, but she receives this story from this gentleman who is a newlywed, and she's calling him Ben and calling his new bride Lynn. So Ben writes in, was not intentional. He writes in, and he's newly married to this young woman. And random times, it starts great, of course, but at random times he would glance over at his wife, whether they're folding clothes together on their bed or something, and she was staring at him and smiling. And then it evolved into he would be walking around the house and he would get these eerie feelings as if someone were looking at him. And he would turn, and she began to jump out from places to scare him. And then he stated that instead of being scared or spooked by them jumping, he would feel these feelings. For instance, one account, he recalls being in the bathroom in the shower, and he was feeling as if someone was staring at him. And he is getting ready and has this fear come over him as if someone is with him, and he starts to hear a little giggle. And he glances to the cabinet, to the vanity, I believe, and she, his wife, had been staring at him through a crack in the cabinet doors and was giggling. And he was like, what in the world? She giggles and runs off. This escalates to some extreme behavior. He becomes terrified of entering rooms because his wife would disappear, and he would enter a room and hear this giggle and childlike, and he would see these eyes or a eye peering through the most mortifying stuff. And then, of course, that's freaky as hell. I've been thinking about this nonstop. And then it comes to this culmination. Like, he had called the mother, and the mother doesn't want to acknowledge what Ben is speaking about. So apparently there's something that the mother knows. Ben is so terrified because this happens in the bathroom. Later on, she would wait for 45 minutes to an hour in a particular spot. And there would be that maniacal giggle. And then there would be this running off as if nothing happened. He leaves after this one because he is so scared. He goes to his friend's house, and he is done. He's gonna leave her because he doesn't want to deal with it. He's petrified of this woman who is just staring at him, hiding from him. He stays a few days, and then he realizes that he's run out of clothing, and he's gonna go to the house where he left and get some stuff. And he walks up the stairs. And as he's walking up the stairs in the house, he doesn't see his wife, but he starts to see dead animals, like birds and weird shit everywhere all over the floor. And he goes in the bedroom, and it is a mess. There's stuff everywhere. And he said he had this disgusting feeling of terror again, and he hears giggling. And he goes down and puts his head towards the floor, and she's hiding under the bed, staring at him, laughing, and has a knife. And he runs down the stairs and out the door, and he hasn't been back since. And there's since been a second video follow-up. And if some of the details I didn't get 100% right because I'm trying to think back on the actual video itself and all of these key details, I did not do it justice because I'm not reading verbatim what he wrote to the woman who put out the TikTok video originally. But there is a part 2, and I'm hopeful that I can find it. I don't know why I didn't follow this woman, but I don't know about you. Could you imagine your significant other just slowly but surely, you'd be just chilling, watching TV, I don't know, whatever you're doing, building a fucking sandcastle, and it's the thing that you do, and then slowly but surely they start to step away for some time, and then you got to go in the other room, so you got to use the restroom, and they are staring at you. And then it just escalates into just total commitment to do that, and then you become fearful of, and then you dip the hell out. I would. I can't imagine. Ben, if you're listening to this, my friend, stay far, far away. Apparently, the mom knew something. I don't know what she would have known. Well, parents know us very well. So she probably knew that her daughter was batshit crazy. I'm not joking and trying to make light of. Well, I am making light of, but not making fun of mental health. But knew she was batshit crazy, and instead, she was probably glad that maybe she was somebody else's problem, or maybe that she got married off because never thought she would. I don't know. Do you know any story similar to this, like a personal experience? Let me know, because that shit's scary as hell. I was just so, I don't know, I usually don't stick around to the end of any video. I'm always like, let's go. But I stuck around for that. If you are watching this, or if you're not watching this, you need to head over to follow me on YouTube. And by follow, I mean subscribe. Click the bell to be notified when I release content like this. And I'll end this episode with talking about the silly aliens. They apparently shoot down into the water. I know I was talking about it earlier, but there's all those videos. And if you have Netflix, check out that series. There's a documentary that just released. And one of the people who were interviewed for their personal experience or their encounter were like, they were all blurred out, of course. And they said, hey, there's some stuff that's going to be happening in a few months. And that airs on Netflix. And then, of course, you have people under oath making these profound statements. What are your thoughts on UFOs and extraterrestrials? They're not weather balloons, guys. Okay, they're not. I mean, remember the original story, of course, and then during COVID, if you remember, there were Chinese weather balloons, and then there were like Chinese. Give me a break. Give me a break. I don't care if you think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't care. I'll drink all of it because that's real. Why would we not have? Who do we think we are to think we're like no one's above us, better than us, whatever? I'm not articulating that properly. I don't know how to articulate it. All I'm trying to say is there's no reason that we should not consider the fact that there could be other things, people, beings. It's hard to articulate that because it's crazy to think about it, because we're still in this place and space of, we don't want to say we met somebody a few years ago on Match.com, and we don't want to necessarily say we voted for Donald Trump, or we don't want to say that we believe in ghosts or aliens. Why don't we just stand behind what we think? I mean, if you don't believe in aliens, I don't fucking care. I mean, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me that you believe or not believe anything, because I've said it and I'll keep saying it. I meet you where you are. Don't judge people, but also be able to listen. And if they don't think or feel a thing that you do, that's okay. You can still hear them out. And then you all can skip into the distance and get stolen by aliens, and they do experiments on you together, and then you can bond together. This world is pretty awesome, and I don't think it's necessary for all of us to think and feel and do the same thing, because that's what makes us interesting and unique. So let me know if you're an alien, if you believe in aliens after being told factually finally, or you don't. Let me know. I'm interested in that. That's going to do it for 213, because we've gone over 3 facts. Spooky story about Ben and Lynn. Don't marry anyone that has a name that rhymes with yours. Like, that's just ridiculous. And don't marry your first cousin either. I appreciate you. You could be anywhere, but you're here with me. Join the Mortals. I would be honored to meet you there. This is the Mortals.